Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the June 9th Variance Review Board in our new location here in Tampa Convention Center. This is my first time as chair, so you all can bear with me as I work through this script and things and we work through the process, although I have been on the board for 3 or 4 years, so not new. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, attendees and participants, and welcome to the June 9th, 2020 meeting of the City of Tampa Variance Review Board. From my left are the members of the board, starting with
David Farrell.
Brett Feldman.
Dustin Pastor.
Lynn Hertak.
Sam Walker.
Susan Long.
Also in attendance are from our legal department, Ms. Kamaria Pettis-Mackel.
Actually, Susan Johnson Velez this evening.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, Susan Johnson-Velez.
Yep.
From Development Coordination, Ms. Roberta Enmead Curry and Brett Burks. From Natural Resources, I have Owen Williamson, and from Transportation, Jonathan Scott, although I don't see him.
He's available by phone.
There are some procedural rules that we're going to go over. First of all, due to COVID-19 pandemic, please adhere to safe social distancing as set within the room, and please maintain wearing facial masks at all times. When your case number and petitioner's name is called, please approach the podium, and when you approach, please state your name, address, and if you've been sworn in. The petitioner or their agent will have 10 minutes to make a presentation, and all other participants wishing to speak will have 3 minutes. Then the petitioner will have an additional 3 minutes for rebuttal if needed. The time periods as stated will be kept by the board. Any information such as pictures or plans that have not been previously submitted as part of your petition and that you intend to present at this hearing for consideration in support of your petition must be individually presented and accepted by the board. After acceptance by the board, you must submit the item to staff for it to be entered and made part of the permanent record. The board bases its decisions on competent and substantial evidence which is presented and which meets the criteria required by the City Code of Ordinances. The variance granted by the board will only be for what is shown on the site plan and will be in compliance with any terms and conditions stated in the approval by the board. All those city codes will need to be met. If the case is approved, your variance will expire 2 years from the date of decision. If the case is continued, it will be continued to either next month's VRB board agenda or the next available position of an upcoming VRB board agenda. If the case is denied, you may wish to have the Variance Review Board's decision reviewed or appealed by City Council, and you must file a petition for review of the board's decision within 10 business days of the written decision. You will not be able to pull any permits until after the 10 days review appeal period has passed. Your cooperation in ensuring that this meeting is run smoothly is greatly appreciated. First item of business, may I have approval of the minutes from our March 10th meeting without objection?
Motion approved.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, I'll ask our legal staff to confirm any ex parte communications and conflicts.
Yes, thank you.
May I ask a question? When we do the vote, because we can't see you or hear you, we're going to do a roll call for every vote, okay, so that we record it correctly.
So at this time, I would like to ask the members of the board if they have had any ex parte communications regarding any matters coming before the board this evening. That means outside of this room with anybody? No? Does anyone have any conflicts of interest for any matters coming before you this evening? All right, seeing none.
Thank you. And with that being said, is there any business regarding the agenda that staff would like to address, or any new business regarding that staff would like to address?
Again, good evening, Roberta Mead Curry, Planning, Design, and Development Coordination. We do have some housekeeping rules. So again, if we can have a vote for the meeting minutes called out as a roll call, because we need to record that correctly.
Okay, so may I ask again for approval of the meeting minutes from March 10th without objection?
Aye.
We'll start down that end.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have that again, please? Because I understand we need a motion first to approve the meeting
Motion
minutes?
to approve the minutes.
Okay, and seconded?
I'll second.
and then we can do the roll call, please. I'm sorry.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, we do have a change to the agenda. The case VRB 20-01 has been officially withdrawn. They are seeking other avenues to ask for their variance through the design exception opportunity.
Okay.
I do also have to have you maybe, the new member, David Farrell, maybe introduce himself and give us a little background for him, and so we can,
Sorry, didn't know that was part of the program, but thank you, Roberta. My name's David Farrell. I'm an owner at Farrell Construction Company. We've been in business for almost 30 years now in Tampa. I have sat on the various other city boards, the ARC for 9 years, and currently my company, primarily my wife, who is the vice president and owner of the company, also a licensed general contractor, we administer the city's facade grant program.
okay, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
The other item I have is we have for July cases. We have 9 cases total right now on the agenda. Okay, so there's room for a couple more. Okay.
And this time I'd like to ask if a member of staff could conduct the swear-in.
You all would rise. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay, so with that, our first case for the evening is case VRB 2034, located at 1511 South Georgia Avenue. If you could please come forward. And then the staff is going to prep us on this, and then you can introduce yourself.
Okay. We're learning the logistics of the room, so is this one on? Okay. Can you hear me okay? Okay, anytime you can't hear me, please just raise your hand and we'll try to speak a little bit louder. Okay, case number is VRB 20-34. The address is 1511 South Georgia Avenue. The applicant is seeking relief from section 27-156 to reduce the north side yard from 7 feet to 2 feet 3 inches. Applicant is seeking to vest existing condition of side yard setback and build an addition and remodel to existing home. The property is zoned RS50, residential single family, and the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser information is included in your packet. Land development, right-of-way, transportation, and natural resources has found the review consistent. Zoning has found it inconsistent. Okay, this is the property appraiser's record. Page 1. Page 2. This is the natural resources record, and I believe you have updated record to submit to the hearing tonight. This is the variance review map. Again, the property in question is here in red. The surrounding properties are zoned RS50. The street front is here. This is the front view of the property. Looking down the street. Other street. This is a close-up to the side yard. And other side yard. This is a site plan. Again, this is the existing property, existing structure, property boundary, driveway, existing garage. This is the addition to the home, and where they're asking for the variance is here. Survey of existing conditions. They have noticed properly, and they have nothing further for the record.
Okay. Applicant, please come forward, state your name, address, and whether or not you've been sworn.
Michael Falkowski, 1511 South Georgia Avenue. I have been sworn.
Okay? And you have 10 minutes to present your case.
Just want to thank everyone for allowing me to present this variance request. I want to thank Ms. Mead Curry for all the help in getting us here today and helping me along the way with the application. With that being said, me and my wife purchased this 1925 bungalow approximately 4 years ago. We are not from Tampa, but we want to grow our family in Tampa. I've been here for 10 years, and we found this bungalow on a street that, had 8 other bungalows, and we wanted to, purchase this home and make it perfect for our family. The variance request, as Ms. Mead Curry has suggested, is only on the north side of the property. Let's see, where the current house stands, it was built in 1925. So the structure was built in 1925, and that's the structure. We're only asking for about 13 feet to continue the house in order to add a bathroom and an additional closet. Right now, it is currently at 3, 1.5. We just had a baby who's now 7 months old, and we plan on growing in the future. This will allow us and afford us the opportunity to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that fits more of our needs without having the financial hardship of, locating a 1,900 square foot house in the area in which we enjoy and on a neighborhood which we appreciate. I have provided copies of the floor plan to utilize or add to the record here, just to show you the functionality of the house as it stands, and why this variance is so important. We're requesting the variance so that the additional bathroom and closet can be directly off the back, flush with the house currently, and not affect any other rooms or have us, move any walls or have to affect any other rooms. Our kitchen is a smaller bungalow-style kitchen with a window in the back, and if we're not agreeing to the hardship or the variance, moving this over 5 feet would, go into the sole window on the back, and if we anticipate and plan in the future for phase 3 to extend this kitchen, it would abut into the kitchen. And we're just trying to keep the functionality of the house as it is. Because right now, when we were looking for bungalows, everything was very disjointed because the additions were being made, and they had to work around that, and the functionality of the interior of the home didn't make sense. And that's what we're trying to keep. The hardships, I believe, that we've outlined in our application show that we're trying to keep the integrity of the neighborhood, trying to keep this 1925 bungalow looking as if that room has always been, that master bath, master closet was always there, flush with the house, and it makes sense with all the rooms as they are on that side of the house without having to affect any other rooms within inside the house. On phase 1, we built a nursery on the left side, and we were able to keep the functionality of the left side of the house without having to move walls or anything. And I think this is something that we want to do in order to stay, because we love our neighborhood, we love the area. We've spoken with all of our neighbors in the surrounding houses, and they're in agreement. The bungalow to the right side of our house was purchased by the house right next to it, and they're redoing it. And they applaud that we want to stay and keep the integrity and the structure, the style and uniqueness that it is currently. I don't know what landscape is going to say, but there was a live laurel oak on the north side of the house about 1.5 years ago. A tree branch fell on our roof, and I had the city come out and look at that tree. The city eventually removed the laurel oak, which was older, probably 50-something years old, and it was determined that it was a damaged oak. So that was removed by the current owners, and there's no longer a tree on the north side area. There's no hardship to the adjacent property. We're building a single-story, 13-foot extension off that side while not affecting the rear variance. We have no intention, we don't want to affect the 20-foot rear variance. We're trying to keep it simple and concise too. We just need 13-plus feet on the north side in order to provide needs for our growing family. And, the hope is that we get the variance today and we can work on making this house better, which I think would, is the plan of the Tampa comprehensive plan, is to, keep these older homes, keep them around. I don't want a concrete block new construction on my lot. I want to keep my home. I love my neighborhood, and this is the one way that A, will make my wife happy, B, will make me enjoy the house a lot more, and I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I appreciate it. So, oh, do you need that? Okay. All right. Does any, I guess questions are after.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
So does that conclude your part of the presentation?
Yeah, I respectfully request the approval of the variance, and I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Does anybody in the audience wish to speak on this petition? Seeing none, board questions?
Hi.
Mr. Feldman?
Sorry, Owen Williamson from Natural Resources. I just wanted to submit a new report for the record. I've been requested by legal that in cases such as this one, where there's no major issues with tree or landscape, that rather finding it consistent, I would just note that the request does not trigger the tree and landscape code. So
Okay.
I'm going to submit those to the record now.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Mr. Feldman?
All right, Mr. Falkowski, thank you for the presentation. Help me, if you would, please get oriented with your floor plan, because I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
I can't quite get it situated. Can you put it up on the?
This is how the floor plan at the front door. So this is my front porch.
Hang on a second.
I don't think we can see it.
Not seeing anything here.
Is it upside down? Or is it not?
There we go.
All right, terrific. Go ahead.
Here.
So
I'm gonna
first of
leave
all,
it-
show me where north is, please, on this floor plan.
This is the north side.
Okay, so,
Okay? This is north. This is the front of the
got it.
house.
You can probably tilt that mic over to where you're standing pretty
I
far.
apologize.
There you go.
Sorry. So this is the front of the house. We're asking for the variance, 13 and plus feet back on this wall right here. Right off the master bedroom would be the bathroom and closet area.
Okay.
So it's in line with the flow of the house. It keeps the flow of the house without making it disjointed or having us to move any walls or.
All right, so maybe I misunderstood what you just showed me. You said the north side is that side. Okay. And then you said you drew something behind the bedroom.
This is the variance that we're requesting, right here.
Mike,
This
draw
this
that.
isn't the site plan.
Mike, draw that. so
Yeah.
we
Show them
can
the other
orient.
plan. There you
I
go.
Just draw the square.
Can I
Yeah,
Can I
just
put
draw
it
the-
side by side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we're talking about.
Show them where the back building line ends here
This is
and where it
the
ends there,
master
right there.
Got
That's
it.
the master bathroom, or master bedroom. Right here. This is large because the plan, hopefully, if we can financially afford it, is to extend the kitchen as well.
Okay.
But this is the only variance, that's the only variance we're requesting.
All right. So the petition says you're requesting to vest existing conditions on the north side yard setback.
Correct. The whole house was built in 1925 on this setback.
Okay. And so the house is, what you're saying is the house is currently built to 2 foot 3 inches from the side yard.
Correct.
And all you're doing here at this moment is vesting that setback.
And we're asking to vest it and request an additional 13 feet, 7, 8.
Because you want to continue going in that direction.
Correct.
Understood. All right. I'm done. Thank you.
Any other board questions?
Just one, I'm sorry.
Mr. Farrell?
Mike, the other thing I wanted to point out maybe to the board too is a mitigating circumstance for you, is the fact that your driveway, your existing driveway with the garage in the back precludes you from taking advantage of of being able to live within existing setbacks. I would, as a builder of historical structures, the proper way to do that addition on the back is you want to differentiate your additions, not make them inclusive. So what you could do is you don't have to lose a lot of square footage. You could take a minimal step back at that corner, literally 6 or 7 inches. Just a step back to differentiate the new from the old. And then what you do is you preserve the federal government's guidelines for historic preservation, and you add value to the house in maintaining it properly as an older structure. I mean, I have no problem with you really can't do much. And if you go farther back and step in 7, it doesn't line up, and you start asking for rear yard setbacks and all that. So I get the fact that you're built in, but you might consider in your design phase for the overall long-lasting value of the house, just maybe stepping that over a bit. And city can provide you with those guidelines at historic preservation if you need them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if my house is a preserved house or what
It could be,
it could be.
if you wanted it to
I know
be.
the house across the street
Yeah.
is.
You have to jump through a lot of hoops to do that, though.
You would know if it was, though.
I would know if it
When
was,
you
'cause I
bought
would-
it.
You'd have heard
I wouldn't
about
be
it by
able to
now.
do
Right.
anything,
Yeah.
you know, when we bought the house, we, you know, redid the structural underneath, and they didn't say it was preserved, and I did, so, but yeah, thank you. And this is a shed that I didn't put in as previously there. It's a large shed, but
Any other board questions? Seeing none, you have 3 minutes for rebuttal if you want it.
yeah, I won't take up much more of your time. I appreciate you all's time and attention here. You know, this is something that, you know, we hope to garner and hope to do in order to further our ability to stay. You know, I'm not from, like I said, I'm not from Tampa. You know, my wife's not from Tampa, but we've grown to love Tampa. We've grown to love South Tampa, the area that we live. And, you know, I have a lot of friends that, you know, live in their parents' house who their parents live in their grandparents' house. And that's kind of what I want. I want to stay in my home, and this is one step. I mean, this isn't, you know, there's other phases to make our house functional to what we are, and this is the big one, and I appreciate your all's time. Thank you.
Thank you. So without objection, we'll close the hearing and open it up for motion or board discussion.
I'll make a motion. Chair's
Mr.
approval.
Feldman?
I will move that the variance request for case VRB 20-34 for property located at 1511 South Georgia Avenue be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing to reduce the north side yard setback from 7 feet to 2 feet 3 inches with encouragement for eaves and gutters based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that the house is an existing, almost but not quite historical house that has been built at this setback line and has existed without trouble for almost 100 years, and that the homeowner is only intending to extend this line, not build further into the setback, but into the backyard.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Long, And we'll take the vote in roll call style. Aye?
Aye.
Aye?
Nay.
Aye.
Aye. Your motion is approved, 5-1. Thank you. Okay. Next case is VRB 2035 at 3112 West Wyoming Avenue. Are you present? Yes? Okay. Staff?
Ready? Okay, and again, a little bit of housekeeping. If you could stand really close to the mic, and then if you are going to use the presentation camera, is to either move the mic over to you. We're having a hard time picking up the audio, okay? Thank you.
Understood.
Turn it up.
Okay, case number VRB 20-35. The address is 3112 West Wyoming Avenue. The applicant is seeking relief from section 27-284 to remove one 34-inch grand tree. Applicant is seeking to build a two-story single-family residence and an in-ground pool. The property is zoned RS50, residential single-family, and the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser information is included in your record packet. Right-of-way, transportation, and natural resources has found it consistent, and natural resources does have an updated report to give you this evening, and zoning has found it inconsistent. Property appraiser record, page 1. It is a vacant lot, so there's just one page. Previously submitted natural resources report. Again, we have an update. This is the variance map. Again, the property is located here in red. The surrounding property is RS50, and Wyoming is along here in front. Looking into the property from the street. Again, more, this is the tree that's in question. Looking to the east. Looking to the west. Let me know if I need to zoom anything up for you. This is the survey. Whoa. Stop. Okay, again, Wyoming is here. I do have letters of opposition to enter into the record, which came in late, past the time that the reports were given to you. It is from Mr. and Mrs. Miller. Here. Sorry. Stop. Okay, what they did is they submitted two letters, and I have a copy for both, of both. And I will call, they did notice properly. I'm going to go ahead and call Owen up here to present his report while I'm giving you the opposition letters.
Hello again, Owen Williamson from Natural Resources. And so here's the updated report, just changed a little bit of the wording. And then I do also have inside the tree evaluation report. So the tree in question is a 34-inch live oak. The condition rating was assessed at a C7. As you you may know, the threshold for removal is a C9 before the variance review board has to be involved. The tree is in overall good health with no signs of major defects. There's some small deadwood in the canopy and some bark inclusion in branch unions, but nothing of immediate concern. The canopy is healthy, though a bit lacking on the east side, presumably where the last house was. And then my finding of consistency was due to the alternate site plan that had been presented by the applicant, showing that in order to save the tree, it would require altering the functionality of the house to the point where it's no longer, in my opinion, the same desire. And that's all I have.
Okay. Petitioner, please present your case. State your name, address, whether or not you've been sworn, and you've got 10 minutes to present.
Hi, my name's Juan Rivera, and I'm representing the property at 3112 West Wyoming Avenue, and I have been sworn in. The property in question has 4 large oaks on it, and the tree that we are asking permission to remove is unfortunately more to the center of the property, where it stands within the footprint of any, substantial sized home. As you saw in the pictures, there's a lot of new construction in the area, and a lot of the homes are much larger than what was there in the past. That's why the tree grew, because they had a real small house before, and the neighboring houses. But if you see, we've got about 8 different comparables within a quarter mile that are comparable in size and square footage. So basically, we're just trying to build something that's going to match and fit the neighborhood, the way it's changing in that direction. We did look at some other alternate site plan design, keeping the tree. However, the existing driveway is kind of where we're using it now. And with that being said, we're able to keep the other trees on the property. If we were to keep the tree in question, we would have to flip the garage to the other side, and then the tree in the front would lose. So it's one way or the other. We can't keep all 4 trees. That's kind of our hardship. But we're trying to do the best we can. We will preserve 3 other trees, and we have no problem, replanting anything based on the tree chart from the city. If you'd like, I can show you the 2 different alternate site plans so
Yes,
you guys
please.
can see what we're talking about. So the proposed site plan that we would like is this one. We would be keeping an oak tree here. There's actually 2 oak trees here next to each other that we would be keeping. There's a 10-inch and a 12-inch, and we're staying far enough from there to be able to keep those. There's a 30-inch oak that would be in the front yard of the new home, and then there's also another 12-inch oak that's right on the property line here. The tree in question falls right here where our lanai would be, and then the screened-in pool enclosure. The alternate site that we did try to look at, I'm going to show you. So, excuse me. So we tried to keep the tree and given it the larger radius due to its size. You notice we jogged the building. However, keeping the driveway on this side and the garage on this side kind of makes this unusable. In order for that to be usable, we would have to move the garage over to this side, and then this 30-inch oak would lose. So we did look at alternates, and we think that our first plan, excuse me, which is this one, would suit the neighborhood better and overall be more aesthetically pleasing, especially with a new home and a nice large oak still remaining in the front yard. That's pretty much all I've got to say there.
Okay, that concludes your presentation.
Yes, it does.
Does anybody in the audience wish to speak on this case? Seeing none, board questions? Mr. Feldman?
Quick question for Natural Resources, please. Can you tell me about the 3 remaining oaks? Are those also live oaks?
Yes, it's all live oaks on the property, and the one that's marked 30-inch in the front is actually also a grand tree. It's 33 inches, and so that would change that as well.
What's the rating of that tree?
That tree is a C8. It's right under the power line, so some of the front limbs have been over-pruned by Tico. But overall, it's still a pretty healthy tree, too.
Okay. Thank you. And then I have one question for you. Did you consider a plan without a swimming pool?
Yeah, I mean, the swimming pool isn't really the issue, it's the size of the house, you know what I mean? But for the neighborhood, all the homes in there, you know, are pretty much pool homes. So, you know, people probably wouldn't be as marketable without a pool probably, you know, with the comparisons in the neighborhood. But then again, the pool is not really in the way, it's more the size of the home that we want. So it's really in the footprint of the home. The pool's just a plus.
Okay.
Mr. Farrell? Did I correct, did Natural Resources is okay with all this, right? You found it consistent, or you have a problem with moving the tree?
That's correct. It was found consistent by Natural Resources.
Okay, so that's fine. Can I find out why did zoning then have a problem with it?
Roberta Curry, Land Development. Typically, zoning will always rule inconsistent because we are looking at the code in its pure form. It's asking for the removal of the tree, and basically because it doesn't meet the criteria, zoning always will have to say inconsistent.
The Natural Resources, again,
Is-
in deference to the owner, they certainly have tried to do what they can, and to keep 3 out of the large 4 seems to be consistent with what Natural Resources would like to see happening.
Right, right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board questions? Seeing none, you have 3 minutes for rebuttal.
I have no rebuttal.
Okay. Well, then, without objection, we'll close the public hearing and open it for a motion or board discussion.
Motion to approve.
You want to take a
Sorry,
stab
it's
at
the
it?
first one.
With your script?
And I'm sorry, short of a second, I'm really not quite sure why we're here in the first place listening to this case, because I thought it was an adopted policy that when a tree sits inside the footprint of an existing residence, that due to state legislation, I mean, why, these guys could have gone and gotten a letter from an arborist and said it proved problematic to their construction, and the city would have to turn around, and at least as I understand the system now, they might have to mitigate the existing canopy, but they certainly would be allowed to proceed without the house. With the house, I'm not sure why he's here anyway.
Just to clarify, the 1159 bill only applies if it's a danger to people or property. So just because it's in the way of a new construction wouldn't mean that it's a danger.
Would you like to make a motion?
If you say so, yeah, I'd like to make the motion for approval, please. I'm sorry. Motion for approval without condition, is that what I'm?
No,
No?
the list she gave you,
Yep.
there's an approval for tree.
For trees.
Number
5 and 6.
Number 5.
Approval is
Number 5. Okay, 5, approval for trees, sorry. Move for the variance request for case VRB, I'm sorry, Roberta, VRB, this is the West Wyoming 20-35, back down to 5, located at 3112 West Wyoming Avenue, be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for removal of a grand tree based upon the petitioner meeting the burden of proof with regard to the 6 factors for determining tree removal as set forth in section 27284.2 of the city code for granting tree removal, specifically that the evidence provided in the record showed. That certainly these folks have done all that typically I would think they would have been able to do to accommodate. And again, this is urban redevelopment, and the city of Tampa needs to learn how to manage its tree canopy other than one lot at a time. It's been a traditional Achilles heel in the development of this city, and this is just another example, so.
Is there a second?
Second, but can I add, maybe supplement the approval?
Sure.
By noting that the applicant did also provide alternative site plans indicating that he, had considered ways that the tree could possibly be saved, but, even with saving the tree, the functionality of the house just didn't make any sense. So the building really couldn't be reasonably reconfigured to preserve the grand tree. So for that reason, I second.
Mr. Farrell, do you accept that amendment?
Absolutely.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Let's take a vote, left to right.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion's approved, 6-0.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, for our final case of the evening, VRB 2036, located at 4603 West Lamb Avenue. Are you present? Okay. Ms. Mead Curry?
Okay. Roberta Mead Curry, Planning, Design, Development Coordination. Again, the property is 4603 West Lamb Avenue. The applicant is seeking relief from section 27156 to reduce the side yard setback from 7 feet to 1.7 feet and vest rear yard setback from 20 feet to 1.7 feet. Applicant is seeking to build an addition to single-story existing garage. The property is zoned RS75, residential single family, and the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser information is included in your packet. Right-of-way found it consistent with conditions, and in the interim, they have corrected the site plan. I do have a new site plan to enter into the record for you this evening, and right-of-way has found it consistent with the new site plan presented. Transportation has found it consistent, natural resources has found it consistent, zoning has found it inconsistent. Property appraiser's information, page 1, page 2. Variance map, the property again is surrounded here in red. The surrounding property is all RS50. West Lamb is across here. The garage is on this side of the property. Survey. This is the plan that was presented at the time of submittal to staff and the board. And this is the updated plan. Again, what was asked for by right-of-way is to go ahead and include the easements. And per the information contained on the site plan, they have been released. And I'll give you a copy of that as well tonight. This is the front of the property. Side yard. This is the side where the garage is, and this is the existing driveway and garage going back here. Looking south. Looking north. I believe Natural Resources has an update to their report, and while he's doing that, I'm going to bring you up the updated plan. The applicant has noticed properly, and zoning has nothing to add more to the record.
This is another one where it's just a changing of the wording for legal. There were no major issues with tree and landscape, so we've changed the finding from consistent to the proposed request does not trigger application of the tree and landscape code. Thank you.
Okay. Please present your case, name, address, and whether you've been sworn, and you've got 10 minutes.
Okay. My name is Alan Dobbs with Florida Design Studio. My address is 5502 North Cherokee Avenue.
Can you speak up? I can't hear you, or will they
Okay.
turn it up, however you do that?
Raise the mic. Okay, I'll do it again.
Okay.
I can hear myself much better now. My name's Alan Dobbs with
Yep.
Florida Design Studio. My address is 5502 North Cherokee Avenue, and I'm the agent for this petition, and the owner is here as well in case there are any questions that he needs to address. I would like a clarification when Roberta was presenting. I believe she said that the surrounding properties were RS 60. They're all RS 75, I believe. So I don't know if that needs to be corrected now, but it goes to our case. So we can address that after my.
Well, you've stated it, so now it's on the
Okay,
record.
okay. So my clients purchased their property in 2012. They've done a lot of improvements on the inside, and really the only thing they've done on the outside, I believe, is a pool, which is on the opposite side of the property from where we're talking about with the variance that we're asking for. This house is a real gem in a neighborhood that's undergoing a lot of change right now. It's a very lovely Spanish colonial style house, and my clients would like to preserve the house, and they've done a wonderful job so far. But the problem is they have very inadequate parking. You know, they have a long driveway that runs along the side of the house. That works out okay. The existing garage, which was not original to the house, but is built with concrete blocks, so it was probably done maybe in the 50s or 60s. And it's only 20 feet deep, so that's very tight for today's vehicles. And also, because the house is so small, they have very limited storage, so that space is being used mostly for storage. In front of that is a carport that was added sometime later. And we're basically looking to take the footprint of that existing carport and enclose it and make it a garage. Currently, there is a door to go into the house from the carport. From the garage, there is not, and there's a utility room between that garage and the other part of the space. I brought a floor plan. If we need to refer to it, I'll present that. And so, you know, reasonable use is the ability to have 1 or 2 cars enclosed in a garage. Just about every other house in that neighborhood has the ability to do that if they don't have it already. And the, okay, so I talked about the access in the garage. So that is really those are the major points. I believe y'all all have the my responses to the 5 hardship criteria. In the past, I've been asked to read them, but I think if you all have them, I probably don't need to read them. But I'd like to close by going back to what Roberta had mentioned about, I thought maybe she just misspoke, but this lot is RS 75. This lot is 60 foot wide. It's a substandard lot, and all the other lots in the neighborhood are RS 75, and most of them are 75 foot wide. So that's sort of why, part of the reason we need this variance is if the property was 15 foot wider, we wouldn't need the variance. So with, I'm going to ask my client if he'd like to make any comments, and then after that we'll conclude our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Gregory Rolls, and I was sworn in. The only comments that I would like to make is that this would help out my wife and I substantially from the aspect of being able to have a place to house our cars. Currently, there's been, you know, an increase in crime, particularly car break-ins in the South Tampa area, and you know, we have fallen victim on more than one occasion. This would give us the ability to put our cars in a garage where they're safer. not just while we're home, but should we be at work or out of town or something along those lines. That gives us the ability to leave the vehicles there knowing that they'll be safe and not have an issue of, you know, possibly being broken into. Similarly, with the current status of the one-car garage, coming home at night, you know, we don't know if there's possibly someone down that side of the house, so pulling up there, you know, that's kind of presented some issues as well. By adding this, it would definitely allow us to, you know, feel safer in that aspect and be able to keep our cars safe as well. Thank you, that's it.
That concludes our presentation.
Okay. I'll ask if anybody in the audience wishes to speak, in case there's some outside there.
Much for audience.
Ms. Mead Curry?
Okay, again, Roberta Mead Curry, Planning, Design, Development Coordination. We did present the variance map, which does show the property is RS 75 and all the surrounding properties are also RS 75. So that's what we presented for the record.
Okay. I'd like to open it up for board questions. Mr. Farrell?
No, you got, please.
I mean, not to belabor the point, but it does say in this data that existing zoning is RS 60
Where does
on this. So,
On the site plan, it says R6?
yes, it does.
Yeah, it says existing zoning.
Okay, that is an error.
Okay.
Because, yeah, on the property appraiser's website, it says RS 75.
Okay,
So
I
that-
just wanted to double check. And then I
Okay.
would love to see the site plan because I'm kind of having a hard time
Okay, yeah, let
visualizing.
me, I have it up right here. Let's see if I can move this over. Do y'all see the image
Yes.
yet?
Yes. I guess I'm just having difficulty. So the new garage is actually, you're just showing the image. It's actually not on the next lot over. You're just enclosing the carport, basically.
Yes, the carport, because it's not a substantial structure, it was most likely built without a permit, so we're gonna take that down and build a structure in the footprint of the existing carport that's shown on the site plan. I have a floor plan that I
Yeah,
can show.
that
Okay.
would be helpful.
Okay. And I will give these to Roberta, since I didn't make copies.
Oh, no,
I just
that's
brought
fine.
them
I
just
just
in
wanted-
case.
Yeah.
So this is the existing condition
Mhm.
right now. The garage is only, 20 feet deep, and it's fairly narrow here. Here is an earlier site plan that we did before we got the site plan updated, because they bought the property, since they bought the property, the FEMA flood zones had changed, so we had to get that updated. So this is an earlier site plan that I did, that you can kind of see this hatched area is where the carport is, and the existing here. And so where we're asking for the variance is on the side here for 1'6" minimum, and then also on the back, just vesting this existing rear, because it's all part of one structure.
Okay, and then the back area, which is the garage, which they're now using as storage, will maintain its storage ability, or will there be space for two cars? Is that, I guess that's what I'm,
Right, well, right now, it's being used for storage, and because it's so small, it'd be very difficult to put a car in it unless it's a small car, so they just wanted to at least have the ability to get one car
okay.
in enclosed, secure space that had direct access to the house. And as you can see from this drawing, this is a new plan, I'm sorry, let me show you this. See, right now, this is all utility and storage, so there's no direct access to the house. But up here, there is. That's where the existing door is, and it will remain there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, you've got 3 minutes for rebuttal, if you like.
I'll waive that.
Okay. Without further objection, we'll close the public hearing and open it up for a motion or board discussion. I don't make motions anymore, guys, so you're going to have to do it.
I'll make a motion. I move or that the variance request for case VRB 20-36 for the property located at 4603 West Lamb Avenue be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduced side yard setback from 7 feet to 1 foot 7 inches and vesting the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 1 foot 7 inches.
I have a correction.
1.7 feet, sorry. With an encroachment for eaves and gutters based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 2480 of the city code, specifically that they are just looking to enclose the current carport for so that they can actually fit a car in the garage because the old garage is too small.
I'll second it.
Can I just, for clarification, you meant 1.7 feet on the
Yes,
rear
I'm
and
sorry,
on
I
the side.
apologize.
Okay,
Yes,
I just wanted to
1.7
make sure the
feet.
record's
Read it
okay,
wrong.
thank you.
That's for both dimensions.
Yes, for both mentions, yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
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 All right, your motion's been approved, 5-1. And that concludes the shortest BRB in my tenure
History.
by several hours. So do we have any items of business from staff before we wrap up? And welcome to the new age. Wait. Welcome to Ms. Johnson Velez.
Thank you.
This is a super fun board. I hope that you're back many times
Well, yeah,
to get to enjoy it with us.
thank you. I'll see you all.
And with
Have
that,
you presented before? You've presented before.
I have
us
presented before, yes, I have.
Yeah, that's what I
have.
thought. The mask is throwing me.
Guilty as charged.
But I've seen you before,
Yes,
yes.
you have.
Well, good
Yes,
to
you
have you on board.
Thank you very much, thank you.
all right, with that, we will adjourn.